Greetings, citizens. Justiguy has arrived, and last time on the 100 Last Defense Academy, Ava figured out who X is. So we better just hit the A button and sit. Yeah, the A button and see who it is. Are we doing this again? We are. I love it. How'd you figure that out? By their mannerisms. Their mannerisms? You know how some people will subconsciously touch their chin or play with their hair when thinking about something? Those sorts of mannerisms, they tried really hard to hide it, of course, but I still managed to pick up on them. So, who in tarnation is X?
All right, I will tell you. X is the real identity of X is.
Suddenly, a sense of dread washed over me, and my mind started working overtime as I went through all possibilities. And maybe X really would press the button now. Everyone thinks X won't do it because that would mean blowing themselves up as well. But if their identity was revealed, it would be the end for them anyway. They might even prefer to die with everyone in the blast over being caught and imprisoned. But in that case, why weren't they pressing the button now before Ava could reveal their identity? Were they banking on the possibility that Ava might say the wrong name? If she did, X could just sit back and watch the show without doing anything. And if she really said X's real name, they could always press the button at that time. Surely that was why X was adopting a wait-and-see attitude right now. It might be dangerous for Ava to say that name out loud. Even if she got it right, everyone would die anyway. Still, I might just be overthinking things. X could be hesitating simply because they were afraid to die. What do I do? What should I do? There was literally no time to hesitate any longer. My final decision was, oh, really? No, I want to hear it. I want to hear it. Okay, there was a better place to cliffhanger 2 minutes later. Fine. Shut it. I would never, ever do that to the love of my life, loved one, mother of my children, and my wife. No. Your future. I decided to let Ava finish her sentence without interruption. However, she stayed silent after that and refused to say another word. What is the matter, Lady Ava? X got your tongue? Or do you actually not know who X is? What? Then why did you pretend like you knew? Edimus questioned Ava suddenly. She smirked and let out a chuckle, looking as if she was mocking us. When I saw her expression, the truth dawned on me. Of course. You're afraid, right? You're afraid to die. Ooh, she pissed. Even if you were forced to do so by X, you were still the one to kill Shoma. That is an unforgivable act. Then you thought to yourself, I'm going to be thrown into the cage again. This time they're never going to let me out. Or should I stay then? I'll blow myself up and take everyone in the SDU with me. But you were afraid to face death. You never had the courage to do that to begin with. So you decided to leave it in the hands of X, right? The act of pressing the button to activate the bomb.
Oh, that's why you lied about knowing X's identity.
Wait, that means you going along with us all this time was just an act? When you said you hated Veshness, was that a lie too? Also, you could gain our trust to gather intel while hiding in plain... I don't think so. Ava said nothing in response. Her lips didn't move for a second. But something else did, her hand. The detonator is a joint on my left hand pinky finger. Moving it in a particular motion triggers an explosion. My body moved before my mind did. I exploded into action as it dashed over to Ava at a breakneck speed. I grabbed her left wrist and shouted loudly. Everyone! And that everyone made a mad scramble for the exit. Right after that, Ava grabbed my shoulder and forced me to face her. As I did, I saw a raised foot and I found myself being kicked away. I landed near the exit, where there were 5 other people. They had just reached the gate and were not yet outside. The other 5 had rushed to the exit on the other side and were about the same distance away as well. I quickly stood up, looked in Ava's direction. She pinched her little finger and said,
Is this the courage you said I didn't have?
She pulled on her little finger without a trace of hesitation. Oh, Ava. I mean... Jesus. Well, it was only a couple days.
Up and Adam troops, time to rise and shine!
Let's see who lived and who died.
We just a...
It's It stayed. I was already so used to waking up and finding out that I missed a bunch of days that I was always more surprised at the fact that I was somehow still alive. Yeah, that's one for the screenshots. Come to think about it, I seem to recall someone pulling me back with great force just before the explosion. That could be why I survived. I wonder who saved me. I didn't see who it was, but I remembered a lavender fragrance. I can think about that later. Is everyone okay? I stood up from the makeshift bed, opened the curtain divider, and stepped outside, and then... What do you mean Tsubasa and Moko are gone? Exactly what I meant. They were both missing when I woke up. You were the last 3 on watch last night, right? Yes, but halfway through my shift, I felt a pain in my neck like something had pricked me. Somebody must have jabbed me with that stolen anesthetic because I blacked out immediately.
When you woke up, they were both gone?
That's what I've been trying to say. It was at this point that everybody finally noticed I was awake. So Takumi, I see you've decided to rejoin us in the land of the living. 5 days no see. I think I would feel a lot better about how often they rely on Takumi just blacking out for days and days and days on end, as if it happened to other characters. Like, I get we're the main character, we have special, not just plot, but like you could argue the whole time traveling thing. But I mean, it doesn't happen in every route, and given that, it would be nice if it would feel less like an obvious, you say, I don't want to say ass pull, because that's not quite what I mean, but it would feel like a less obvious, hey, we're doing this because we don't have enough narrative here to justify you going through all these days. Like, at least make it feel like this is just a thing we have to, I don't know. Anyway, 5 days, pretty fast, all things considered. Yeah, hey, shouldn't we be looking for Tsubasa and Moko? Yes, the 9 of us here will split up into groups of 3, so no one died, except Eva. After some discussion, we decided on the... Group 1, me, Nozomi, Darame. Group 2, Takemaru, Kunada, Kyoshika. Group 3, Miruga, Yugamu, Ima. Let's go find them. Not sure how I feel about this route so far. Or at least these developments. Like, it makes sense, but I want... Don't get me wrong, it makes sense that Eva was never really on our side. But because in most of the routes we've seen, except for the one where we also become an enemy of the SCDU, I think that's the only one, she's brainwashed. I was kind of hoping, we'd get to see her. But then again, logically, stepping back, it doesn't make sense. Why would she, in full control of herself, especially when we're all holding detonators to her life, open up to us? I don't know. Like, that's totally, I can't blame that. We are the evil invaders, after all. And she's got a daughter to think about. We visited every place in the school to see if we could find any traces of them. However, they're nowhere to be found.
It's already been an hour since we started looking.
Suddenly, we had a strained voice coming from the schoolyard. Bad news! Teams Takumi and Takemaru. Oh, Teams Takumi and Takemaru, can you hear me? If so, come to the parking lot right now. I also feel like we haven't really done enough with the fact that Kako's dead, Like, I feel like there should have been more of an Ima arc going on. I don't know. But we rushed towards the stairwell together. Takemaru's team arrived at the parking lot by the time we had arrived. There were a few trees near the parking lot. Hiroko and Takemaru's teams were staring agape at something near the top of them. Dread started to pool in the pit of my stomach. I call it Dreadpool. A badass name, if I do say so myself. I turned slowly and cautiously to look in the direction of their stairs. What I saw was... Oh, fuck! No. Jesus Christ!
No!
Oh, that's brutal. I mean, it's not... It is, but I mean, I was going to say, it feels disrespectful to say it's brutal in comparison to everything else we've seen, but this is, like, uniquely sadistic.
How?
It was clear they were both dead. Blood drained from my face, and I felt sick to the bone. Now 5 of my friends are dead. What? Possibly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it's gonna be 7 then. 6, 7. Okay, so it's not counting Ava or Ato. Boo. Ava was still threatened. She was still threatened. You know, I feel like we kind of glossed over that too fast. Anyway, didn't know how my heart wasn't breaking apart. Somehow I held myself together and said,
"Help me lower them to the ground and move them to the infirmary."
Tsubasa, the best character. No, how will we win any fights we might have to do? Subject, Tsubasa Kawana. Cause of death, hemorrhagic shock. Estimated time of death, day 80, between 5 a.m. and 8 a.m. Multiple stab wounds on the chest and abdomen. The murder weapon is likely a sharp blade about 8 inches long. Too much time has passed since death. Insufficient cryptoglobin present in body. Impossible to revive. Subject, Moko Mojiro. Cause of death, hemorrhagic shock. Estimated time of death, day 80, between 5 and 8 a.m. Lacerated carotid artery. Murder weapon is likely a sharp blade of unknown length. Too much time has passed since death. Insufficient cryptoglobin present in body. Impossible to revive. After everyone had a chance to view the monitor, the mood in the room turned utterly gloomy. We silently moved their bodies to the morgue.
Hey, do you mind if I mention something?
Go on.
Something I noticed about Tsubasa's back.
Huh? She got her heart stolen like the others? Wait, how did you know about the hearts being stolen? I decided it was not something worth hiding and told them about it. Oh, right. You know, that was like one of our big possible advantages.
But I don't think the cases are related. Neither of them had their backs cut open.
Then what is it you wanted to tell us about Tsubasa's back?
I noticed it when the hem of the blouse hitched up while we was moving her body just now.
Zarumi walked over to Tsubasa's body and removed the sheet that was covering it. She turned over the body and pulled the blouse up so that we could all see the strange thing on her back.
Huh.
What? 2? Think so. Could be a Z or an N as well. I don't know. Thank you for opening that possibility so we don't have any 11073-ish. 1, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. The mark is small enough to be completely covered by a hand. Not located in the center, but more towards the left side of the spine.
Huh?
My brain is processing that. I mean, it's in more in the appendix is more in the. I don't know why my mind went. Well, I mean, I know why my mind went to appendix. I've had to think about appendixes a lot lately. Anyway, this is indeed curious. The purplish color even makes it look like a bruise. What could this number mean? Nobody had an answer to that. We checked Moko's back as well, but there was no marking at all, let alone one that looked like a number. After that, we turned them both back around, closed our eyes, and put our hands together to pay our respects. Moko, and Tsubasa, Takumi, she's your love interest, not mine. You mourn that one. Nozomi clung on to Moko's body and wept bitterly. Her anguished chokes and sobs reverberated throughout the hushed morgue. Sadness. Or Nozomi. Or Moko. Shit. Night soon fell, and when bedtime approached, Kurara suddenly brought something up. Nizzleton, we're still okay. I was like, if we stayed in the morgue for hours, that'd be. I found this in Tsubasa's space. Could you guys take a look at it? The organic life detection device. 9, same as the number of people here. Ain't it about time you just show your hand, X? You're one of us here, ain't ya? No criminal in their wrong mind would happily come forward to identify themselves when asked. How about this, X? Fess up if we promise not to throw your sick little ass into jail. So come on, help us out of here.
Are we only talking to X right now?
Say what?
X instructed someone to kill Kako and Shoma. What if it was the same this time?
Hey, don't you go putting weird ideas in my head. You're basically saying that 2 killers among us? Whatever the case, we should probably be sleeping together.
I agree. X should still have some of that anesthesia left.
Another option is to increase the number of people on watch, but it's probably safer for everyone to just sleep in their own rooms. What do you think, Takumi? I folded my arms across my chest and thought long and hard about it before saying, yes, going back to sleeping in our own rooms may be the better option at this point. On the condition that nobody opens their door until the morning announcement. Are we clear on that? I didn't hear a yes. Day 81. Bing bong. Ding dong, bing
troops,
bong.
time to rise and shine.
shine.
Get ready for your 81st day of active service here at Last Defense Academy.
Hey.
Prepare to spend another day enduring the unendurable and suffering the insufferable to pave the way for humanity's future greatness.
Row, row, fight the
Are you
power.
ready to give your lives to protect our beloved school from the vile and barbaric enemy?
Raw. I didn't black out despite having gone through so many stressful events yesterday. Good for you, Takumi. You gotta get some wins in there when you can. I didn't know why. It wasn't like I'd been cured of the fainting disease. During the day, we split up into groups to investigate the deaths of Tsubasa and Moko. Which are things, we could have shown you, but whatever. But we didn't find a single clue, so I guess there was no point. Soon, the sun started setting. Darkness took over. Uh-oh. When it doesn't show the number in there. See, even this would have been better. Days like this would have been preferable to just, you were fucking asleep for a week so we could move the plot.
You never know when the invaders might attack, so... Well then.
I mean, I guess some people would say, hey, why... I guess if they did do that, then you live in the world where people would be saying, oh, wow, why did you make us sit through these nothing days? Ooh, we should have let us play around. And yeah. The sound of the doorbell sent a chill up my spine. Was it X? Were they here to get me? Those thoughts raced through my mind as I gingerly made my way over to the door when I was greeted by a familiar voice from the other side. I know what you were thinking, Takumi. Maybe Hiroko is X, right? But you would be wrong. I am not X. Yeah, you say that, but let me give you a smell. If you smell like lavender, I'll believe you. Just listen to me. I need to tell you something. You are likely innocent because you did not have the detonator for Ava's bomb. For that reason, I trust you and want to tell you something I remembered. What is it? I'm going to the morgue now. If you trust me, meet me there. I will be waiting for you. Okay, we're going to find her. She'll be dead and we'll blame for it, right? I heard the sound of her clacking heels getting softer and softer until it was completely silent. What should I do? I don't believe Hiroko is X, but... Arg, damn it. I hid my infuser under my clothes as a precaution and ran directly to the morgue. I have never met an idiot as stupendously naive as you. Did you really even consider what would have happened to you had I really been X? God, I love you so much, Takumi. But you said you weren't. Only a gullible idiot would believe a potential suspect is not a bloodthirsty serial killer simply because they said so. Ugh. I gritted my teeth in frustration, then said, anyway, what was this thing you remembered? Hiroko walked over to Tsubasa's dead body without a word. She stopped in front of the body and removed the sheet. She turned the body over before lifting the blouse up. That's the strange number we saw yesterday. What about it? This is her liver mortis code. Liver mortis code? What? When the fuck were they gonna bring this up? Sorry, it's a unique number that appears on the back of all SDU members when they lose almost all of their cryptoglobin. Only those from Team 1 have this. Where did you hear about this? That is a 3-day long story I could tell you another time. If it's in that prologue thing that came with the game that Steam asks me if I want to open it or not every time I boot the game up. You want to read the Hiruko's first kid? I don't think I'll accept that. Otherwise, She moved to Shoma's body next, removing the sheet covering him. She flipped his body around so that his back was facing us. Didn't we just say we didn't find any other numbers? Oh, what? It's not the hearts they're taking. It's where. Oh, wait a minute. There's a large gaping hole there. Shoma too. Yes, I believe X must have done this. But when? We've been moving in groups ever since he died. Well, there was just one sliver of opportunity X could have taken advantage of. What's that? When Ava self-destructed. Everyone got caught in the blast and were knocked out. It was the next morning by the time we all regained consciousness. X must have woken up sooner than the rest of us, and... Hideko showed me under Eito and Gaku's back cavities next. Finally, she turned Kako's body over. Now we have 4 cases on hand. Every wound is the same shape. X used the same method to remove their hearts from their bodies. It sure seems that way. What do you see when you look at this wound? Well, the outline is rather clearly defined, like they were cut open with a scalpel or something. Oh, I get it now. It's in the exact location. That has to be it. The part of their backs with the liver mortis code is... Yes, thank you for catching up, Takumi. Well done. Is it the same for Moko? Haven't you been listening? The liver mortis code only shows up from those on Team 1. Moko is from Team 2. Naturally, her back is code 3. Okay, but why? After saying that, Hideko returned the bodies to their original positions. But why would X do such a thing? I am guessing it is either because they do not want us to learn of their existence, or this is like Saw 2, where they need all of the numbers on our backs for some reason. If the bodies were left in their original state, somebody was bound to notice the code sooner or later. So they cut out the part with the code out in order to keep them hidden from us. Why dig the hearts out too? Most likely a red herring, think about it. What would be the first thing to come to mind if you saw that multiple bodies had only a certain part of their backs cut away? I would think there had to be something on our bodies as well. You see, now you are getting it. You would think X is targeting something invisible on that part of our bodies, right? And what would you do with that information? What am I supposed to do? For example, I would cut out that part of my body before X could get their hands on it. Or cover it with something like a tattoo of a soaring dragon. X would likely be highly inconvenienced if we did that. That is why they took out the heart as well. They wanted us to believe their target was not the patch of skin on our backs, but the hearts in our bodies. But then why did they fuck up with Tsubasa? That's why X did that. But that still leaves us with one question. What's that? I'll explain later. You see, X's objective has to do with knowledge of the liver mortis codes, which means you should be now our number 1 suspect. Our current hypothesis is that X cut out that particular part of the skin, not because they were avid skin collectors, but simply to stop us from knowing about the existence of the codes, which conveniently we have never seen in any other route until now, and quite possibly may never see again. But if that is true, why set up the red herring? Because if X's objective was only to know what the codes were, they could have simply gotten rid of the bodies once they saw it. They could have tossed the bodies into the wall of fire, buried them in the forest, yet X did none of these things. Why? I'm not sure, but maybe they needed the bodies to be left in the morgue for some reason. You think so? Well, we have wondered about this. Like, why have the morgue at all if everyone's supposed to be able to come to life again, right? Like, those two things do have, and we talked about this sort of briefly, or I've thought about it. Anyway, but by doing so, it would allow us to find out about things. In fact, these codes do kind of, maybe, just thinking outside the box here, maybe at some point in the development, they were like, wait a minute. If they could come back to life, why the fuck would they have a morgue in all these other routes? Like, we need to come up with a reason for there to be a morgue. And it's like, oh, got it. Body storage for codes that appear on their bodies when they're dead. Boom, got it. We're geniuses. Yeah, let's come up with a route to justify that. Which we need to justify the existence of the morgue in the other routes. Maybe that's what happened. I could see that. But by doing, it would allow us to find out about the existence of the liver mortis codes. That is why they went through the trouble of setting up such a complicated red herring, removing the skin and hearts of those already dead. So the question is, why does X want the bodies preserved? That is what I'm trying to find out. Let's put that aside for now and talk about something else. Why does X want to know what the liver mortis codes are? It has to do with a distress signal transmitter. Transmitter with the boy with the undying flames told us about? I recently found out there's something called a distress signal transmitter somewhere in the school. It was put here in the event that all but one member of Team 19. Once the correct series of codes had been entered into the transmitter, it would, transmit a distress signal. I really, really, really hope we get DLC that mixes the elements of different routes together. I think that would be the ideal DLC. X choice will not unlock until you have, they'll all be slotted in, sort of like if they had like 100 new endings, they'll all be slotted in, but it's like you cannot select X or it won't appear as a choice until after you do meet certain conditions. It was actually, I think, how at least 999 worked, and maybe the other Zero Escapes game would work, where you had to go watch that series. You get it. Well, the transmitted distress signal. Oh, I know. The correct series of codes he mentioned. He must be referring to the liver mortis codes. Yes, there are 10 people on Team 1. Entering 9 of our codes will summon the rescue craft. Because knowing liver mortis codes of 9 people indicates that 9 people have entered total death. Total death? It means the complete cessation of life. In this state, a person is impossible to revive. Okay, but how did you come across all this information? The same way I came across the previous information by remembering the 3-day-long story you were talking about. Yes, I will explain further when time is more on our side, will you? But now our priority is to identify X. You understand now? Do you understand why I said X's objective is to find out about the Livus Mortis codes? Does that mean X is trying to summon the rescue craft? It is very likely. So that they can leave the school? Quite so. Which also means X already knows where the distress signal transmitter is located. Because the Livus Mortis codes would be useless otherwise. That is a logical line of reasoning.
Daddy, keep going.
If we find the distress signal transmitter ourselves, we may find a clue to X's identity. Hideko nodded deeply by my words like this. Yes, you did it, Daddy. That is why I am going to start looking for the distress signal transmitter now. Okay, to join me? But it's almost midnight. What are you, 5? Oh, all right. I mean, I kind of don't want to leave X an opportunity to just kill everyone else while we're wandering around. Apparently the only ones with our heads on our shoulders. But yeah, sure, what the fuck ever. Let's go. It's totally not like I just wanted a late night date with you or anything, Takumi. I'm sorry, Hideko. I'm still wary of your characterization ever since the whole fucking time traveling love you story came. Hideko and I ran around the school all night in search of the distress signal transmitter. We found nothing in the end. It's almost 6. If we're not in our rooms for the morning announcement, the others may suspect one of us being X. Yes, we should call it a day for now, and just as Hideko was about to finish her sentence, what could have happened, we'll have to find out next time, citizens, because until then, I'm afraid there's gonna have to be farewell.